A lot of good, a little bit bad from Georgia's defense against Kentucky. Not quite able to seal the deal in the easiest of ways, though Georgia's offense did not help either. We're focusing on Georgia's defense on this episode of Film Don't Lie in its performance against Kentucky up in Lexington. That's Brent Rollins. He works with Pro Football Focus, also with UGAsports.com. That's where we're partners. Been doing this for a couple of years here with Film Don't Lie. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you like the work that we do. We are the most popular Georgia Bulldogs YouTube channel all over the internet, and we're proud of that. And so much so that we've been able to partner with brands like our friends at Jittery Joe's. You need to join up with Jittery Joe's as well and get your limited edition national championship coffee can. Go to their store in person if you're in the Northeast Georgia area. If not, jitteryjoes.com is where you can get this coffee can that will look at you and say you're either elite or you're not. And that's a good way to start your day. And we'll tell you more about this throughout our episodes of Film Don't Lie tonight. We're doing 3 live and then be on demand for those eager to see it beyond that. Overall, though, Brent, with Georgia's defense, they probably needed a bit of Jittery Joe's coffee in their veins as they were getting that game. Not only for the warmth because it was a cold day, but a couple just boneheaded plays that we're going to look at, but then also some successes too. So I don't want to be too dramatic and say that it was a bad performance because it really wasn't. But there were a couple things that Georgia just missed up on that were pretty simple.
Yeah, when you think about it from a big picture perspective, it was very much a Kentucky-esque game, right? The last, I think, 4 years, it's the average score of the game is 20-6. I mean, so this was, and Kirby talked about it after the game. Hey, we kind of thought we knew the game was going to be this way. Well, they kind of helped that. It could have been a way different from the offensive perspective, but defensively, the biggest thing is you didn't let Chris Rodriguez go off. And we're going to talk about that a little bit in the video. And then also just big picture perspective. Number 2 in terms of fewest points per game allowed. Number 1, fewest touchdowns allowed. Number 3 in the FBS in terms of third down percentage conversion allowed. Like the statistics for the defense are still beyond phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely were. And this is where we're going to start here with, and Kirby Smart, you had mentioned he talked about this in his post-game news conference. This is a particular play that he said, if this goes Georgia's way, it may change the whole complexion of the whole game. This is a third down from the end zone. This should be a punt after this because it's 3rd and long.
And after the massively botched kickoff return to open the game that took forever to figure out what to do. But when you think about how offenses are going to have success against Georgia, it's taking deep shots. It's taking deep shots and hitting them. I was a little shocked.
Smart even said, he said, look, we ask our corners to play one-on-one a lot. And that's exactly what this is with Kelee Ringo. Now, I got to give you credit because early in the season when Kentucky played Ole Miss, you said freshman receivers, and you even said plural, but you were particularly talking about this guy for Kentucky. You said they have guys that are going to be making plays in this league for a long time.
Yeah, I think number 2 would be Georgia's best receiver. Like he's that good from a speed and playmaking ability perspective, and you saw it in this game. The other thing, 2 balls out in 2.5 seconds. You're not getting pressure right there. So it's just not going to happen. And then 2, I was kind of shocked that, I don't know if he just didn't see the ball, but he just kind of turned and was like, oh, okay. And then there's a reception, but because he was in phase for the most part, just couldn't find the ball. But I will say, Kelee made up for it, obviously, with the big interception later in the game. But that's now, I think, his 4th 30-plus yard reception he's allowed on the season. He's actually been targeted more than Kamari Lassiter, which is I didn't realize from a total target perspective. But again, this is how you're going to beat Georgia's defense. The key is, can you do it for 4 quarters? They did it on a couple drives, but not other than that, no.
My assumption is that when they look at this on tape, because like you said, Kelee Ringo stays with them step for step. I think if anything, from what I've seen the last couple of years, Georgia's defensive backs at the point where the ball is getting to the receiver, even if they're not facing where that ball is coming from, because they kind of play up against the receiver. Just the fact that he didn't have his hands up to potentially deflect a pass some way. I think that may be what coaches say, hey, that's not what we're always coaching you to do.
Well, that, and also the other thing that you think he could have done on this play, and it's, look how fast these guys are going. It's hard to do in real time like this, but he didn't squeeze him to the outside any. Like he didn't use his right arm once they get there, they're basically just turning and running. He could have sort of squeezed him a little bit, much like he did exactly to Tillman against Tennessee when he got the pick there. But still big play.
So this is later in the first, and again, this is where Georgia understands Kentucky is trying to limit possessions in this game. So to get to the point where we just saw to here, 5 minutes have come off the clock.
Yep, and the beautiful part about this, and almost consecutive plays, 3rd and 1, then 4th and 1, but every down lineman wins right here. Like you look at Michael Williams on the interior right here, the first guy sort of closest to us, instantly beats the guard inside. Stackhouse owns the center. Carter pushes the backside back and then sort of works down. And Chambliss does a good job of not getting buried on the backside edge to allow Munden to be free and make the play.
Yeah, Munden free play here. I said it last week. I'll say it again. Yes, Jalen Carter really elevates the ceiling of this Georgia defense. Smile Munden being back is in that conversation as well for most important players because he just offers some athleticism and physical play that Georgia didn't have when he was missing time.
Yeah, and also, why was Rodriguez not in the game right here? He was on 4th down. We're going to look at that in a second, but okay. But then also, what's amazing about the play is think about the box right there for Georgia. You got your down lineman, and then Munden's sort of at the top working down there. But you know who the linebacker is right there, sort of in the linebacker position? That's Mr. Bullard. All 5'10", 180 pounds. So you just got a 3rd and 1 stuff with that guy playing linebacker, basically.
You texted me after the game, so I want to be sure we emphasize this point. Stackhouse, really good game.
Yep, and we're going to show him a little bit later, just making an individual play, but he's just getting better and better each and every week, and I got some stuff for him on him later. But then 4th and 1 right after that.
A little stem.
Yep, and I like when they go this. Look at Williams right there, just dominate at him on interior defensive lineman right now. He just wins, and this is winning quickly, quick rip, step through, rip. That's just awesome. And I love when they go, especially short yardage, and they do this a lot in short yardage. When they walk down, all right, Munden walks down, they shift. Now they've got hat on hat for the 5 offensive linemen. And what does that do? That Dumas Johnson now stays free for the most part.
Michael just plays so low here. Like, yes, the quick rip, but it's also just the leverage of you're not going to get lower than me. I promise you.
Yep. Good bend, good all of it. Everybody wins. Stackhouse wins. Carter wins. I mean, it's consecutive plays where your front 6, front 5 at least, just win. And this is Rodriguez, so it's not like it's the other back. So you're stopping a guy who's hard to tackle as it is.
I could tell Levis is still injured because Levis at his peak keeps this and just takes his chances out here.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think they felt like he had to as the game went on, and they're like, oh, okay, we kind of got a little chance here, and we got a little potential to make this a game. They obviously used him. We're going to look at that in a little bit, but still, big stop on the first drive. But like you said, it shouldn't have happened. Should have been off the field on 3rd down.
Late in the first quarter now, Georgia's put a field goal on the board. This is a 2nd and 8 for Kentucky, going empty.
This was phenomenal recognition. First off, 84. What in the are you doing? 84 for Kentucky, by the way.
This is the draw block animation, and it really is not deserved here.
Say the line that is the flat line, the T part of it. Yeah, you should just because he just kind of goes there and stares at him. Yeah, I don't think so, but still,
I don't know what he's doing. There you go. He just goes right there.
But I actually, yeah, there you go. Perfect. That's what he does. But I will say, this is when you talk about preparation and then mental play, because if you notice the guy at the top of the screen, the second receiver in, that's a big fella. That's their left tackle. So up at the top of the screen. So if we just sort of go back to the formation, the start of the play. Yep. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
All right. So start of the play. Look at Munden right now, pointing. You know what he's pointing to? That's a tight end lined up at left tackle with the two guys outside off the line of scrimmage. This is 100% supposed to be a double pass. And the big guy at the top, he just, in terms of recognition, that was great. He stays with that guy, and then Brown can't do anything.
Just formation-wise, too, Kentucky got Chaz out here on the edge a lot. I mean, he was playing away from the line of scrimmage quite often. It should have been a double pass, but 84 doesn't do his job. And then down he goes there. A couple other things that I wanted to point out with this particular play. Just the reaction from Georgia's guys. So with Robert Beal here and his recognition, but then also with Malachi Starks with his recognition. They come to help quickly on this, and I think that's important. So there they go there. May have lost Brent for just a second. He'll be back with us momentarily with the internet issue here. So this is Levis keeping the ball, as we were talking about earlier. Just some recognition from Dumas Johnson here. I don't know what notes Brent had on this, so I don't want to necessarily dominate the conversation to keep moving on from this, but he'll pop in back in just a second. Overall, though, I could tell that Levis was limited, and you saw him even seemingly re-injure or at least feel that turf toe that he's been battling early on, because he did not keep the ball as much as he has previously on game film, and he's a really good athlete. That's the primary reason, I think, why he's gotten the NFL buzz and hype that he has to this point. And here we are. Brent, you back with me? Potentially, maybe. No. We're still on this. We're good. I rolled through it. So double pass?
Struggle bus tonight with the internet.
Still struggling on it? Sounds that way. Let's see if we can find. He's going to be texting me here in a moment, and we'll figure this piece out. We may have to do Film Don't Lie tomorrow. Regardless, I have an idea. This could be very...
There we go.
I'm going to see. Good?
Finally.
You back with me?
Maybe.
Potentially.
Potentially.
I heard everything from you. We had a great spiel from the double pass potential, and we just kind of rolled with that.
Oh, gosh. This is frustrating.
Hey, this is like Georgia's playing against Kentucky as well. All right. I think our internet connectivity is going to stop us here. And what we'll do, because we don't want to do just a half-ass version of Film Don't Lie, we'll probably take this one down, and we will go at it again tomorrow and get you some fresh Film Don't Lie that have some better internet connectivity. So, with that said...
Hey, hold on one sec. Let me try one more thing real quick.
Oh, look at him. See, he has all the data with this, and that's why I don't want to just like proceed and give you my hacky takes, because it would just be full of dad jokes here. But I can play with the film a little bit more.
All right, I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
All right. This is called Phil when you're in local TV, and I will do my best to do that here. Mainly, we wanted to acknowledge how Georgia slowed and stopped Rodriguez on a lot of these runs on the interior. And we talked earlier about just how Stackhouse, when he was in there, and we'll get back to this in just a moment as well. Stackhouse here really crashing down on the line, pushing a guy back, and it makes this whole play happen. So focus on him as I remove Brent from here. Check out Stackhouse. Boom! Gets in there, makes his tackle, and that's going to set up a 2nd and long. And Georgia really did win a lot at the line of scrimmage, although I will say on this play, not as much for Mr. Bear Alexander. A little bit later on, this is 4th quarter. A little flip pass out here. I thought Kamari Lassiter had a really good game, but then a lot of times you see here is where Lassiter is, and just watch how he doesn't quite have the body control that you need in the flat, because he should make this play. Slide thrown on by. It's a really good thing that Javon Bullard was there to help out. See, Bullard's lined up here, and he focuses to the flat pretty quickly. Just a motion man to the bottom, quick fake, balls out quickly. Chaz Chambliss was getting to the pocket to disrupt it, but then you have Bullard making his recognition to help with this. The thing with Kamari Lassiter, though, I think, is you saw him make a couple plays at or behind the line of scrimmage. He just goes so fast and instinctual, and you don't see him often in the wrong position. So if he'll wrap up this tackle, I've just seen him progress a whole lot from where Oregon was attempting to target Kamari Lassiter early and often in that game against Georgia. Just didn't quite see that as much in the last few weeks. And as Brent was saying, it's been Kelee Ringo that has had more targets than Kamari Lassiter to this point in the season. And both of them should see a lot of time on the sideline if Georgia can get a lead against Georgia Tech here. Again, good push. If Georgia hasn't had a lot of sacks, but this is getting pressure to the quarterback, making him maybe throw a little bit sooner than he wants to, out of rhythm, and it helps the defensive backs there. 3rd and 5 here. This is almost midway through the 4th quarter, and we're including these just kind of show you how Kentucky was trying to use some pick plays here on the outside. So this is a route running this way, trying to create some space here for this receiver who is cutting to the inside, right? Now, the difference, and you'll see on 2 plays here, because we have Mr. Kelee Ringo in coverage here for Georgia. He fights through on this very limited space here and is able to stick with his man. You see how he stays with him, avoids the pick here, and is able to stay and wrap up, and this sets up a 4th down play. So notice how he does this real quick one more time. So Kentucky tries to use the route combination to get a pick and create some space. Ringo fights through it. Now on the touchdown play here, a bit different. Ringo is now over here, and he is the one being taken away with the pick. So this is now on Javon Bullard. Can he try to create the positioning to prevent the slant? And it doesn't happen here. So essentially what you have, pick, inside slant. And for Georgia to have any shot with this, Bullard has to fight over the top and is not able to do so. Somewhat based on his positioning, but some of it is just he's not as big and physical and fast as Kelee Ringo is. So Kentucky was able to take advantage of this. I think you'll see teams, if Georgia were to play in Ohio State, potentially use that kind of pick play to get an open receiver. It's well designed because you're not going to get called for a pick. It looks just like a route here, but this is just to cross over right here. The only other thing is if you get some kind of linebacker recognition, but Georgia was bringing pressure. So that's almost a concession there. Fortunately for Georgia, Kentucky did not make the 2-point conversion after this particular play. And so there you go. That is kind of a combination of 2 pick plays at the end. Overall, I thought that Georgia played a good game with its defensive backs, but you saw some opportunities that they really did well on, and some things they didn't. Robbie Dodson has a good question. Should they have switched? It all depends on the coverage. That looked like man instead of zone, and so probably not in that particular case. And yes, I do agree that Kamari Lassiter's confidence keeps growing. That was a weak point for Georgia early in the season. Not as much right now. All right, I'm going to end this film. Don't lie. This one can stay because we did wrap up through it. I'm sure Brent has some notes that he can put over on ugasports.com as well. Some things that his internet did not allow him to share here. We have a couple other Film Don't Lie scheduled for tonight, but if his internet cannot be corrected, then we're going to end up pushing those off to later in the week to make sure that we can give you all the best view of this as possible. We may even combine the play of the day in the second half of defense, so he's able to give you all the information that you want. Hey, do me a favor and go support the folks over at Jittery Joe's. JitteryJoes.com is where you get this limited edition coffee can. It's fantastic. I decorate my office with Jittery Joe's cans after I'm done with them, but that's also a little sad to me because that means my coffee's gone. I have to go get some more. So go to their locations in Northeast Georgia in person. If you're in the Watkinsville area, which is where I live closest to, Joe and Sam's is a great place to get this. I've also seen it over at Stripling's off of 78, but then jitteryjoes.com, wherever you're at, you can get it as well. Hey, everyone, thanks for watching Film Don't Lie. Apologize for the internet issues that we've had. We'll do what we can to correct those, but whether it's tonight if you're watching live or later on, we do appreciate you. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. For Brent Rollins, I'm Dayne Young. We'll see you next time.